What is up, YouTube? It's been a while. I know I keep making that excuse, but anyways, I'm super excited about this this time. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last 5 years, had anything to do with dragboat racing, you know this guy sitting beside me here needs no introduction. Mr. Shawn Dunbar. He's a fellow Canadian racer of ours from up here that I met back in 2019, but he's been traveling down to the US a lot and doing a lot of racing, and I'm just super excited to have him here. And Shawn's going to talk to you about a really cool event that he's been working on here. He's putting together a race this summer in Ohio. So I'm going to let Shawn take over and just sort of explain what he's doing. So first of all, most of these people that are watching this know who you are. But what got you started in outboard dragboat racing to begin with?
Brent's getting pretty popular with this because I always talk about Brent, right? So, but Brent Belos, who Baycor, it's known to many. He gave me a call. One of my neighbors in 2016, I guess it was. I've always had some high performance boat of some sort. Yeah. And Brent got word that I had a fast boat, and so he gave me a call one day and said, "Hey, we've got an organization, OPBRA. Yeah. I'd like you to come and race." And I said, "I don't want to race, that kind of thing." And so anyway, he got me to go out to the first race. Yeah. And
what year was that?
2016, I believe it was. Yeah, in Peterborough. Yeah. Hometown kind of thing. And so I went with my Charger and a 2.4. Yeah. And got my butt kicked. I went 0-2, and so met a lot of people on that race. Yeah. I met Kevin, who's my mechanic, Kevin Ward. I met him because the Friday night of the race, we had to hang my engine from off a tree because I had some issues with the mid and stuff. So I had to get that. Yeah. I got safety checked and found out that it was broke, and so it didn't have any parts. But Anthony at the time was helping me with it, and Anthony knew Kev and gave him a call and said, "Hey, you come to the race tomorrow?" And he said, "Yeah, we need some parts." He brought them, and Kev and I have been
That's
real
awesome.
good friends since.
I didn't know that. That's cool because I mean, I got involved in OPBRA in 2019. Yeah. And you at that point I had been doing some U.S. races, so you must have got bit pretty hard then. You were in.
Well, and as you know, you've been racing for a long time. When you get your butt kicked, you want to revenge kind of thing and get better, right? So 2016 I had the Charger for the first year, and then 2017 I ended up getting the STD the first STD that I had, and then 2018 was my first year. I went 16-0 in Peterborough in 2018, and that was my year where I decided that I'm getting better. Yeah, yeah. And so I went to Jasper and got fourth that first year. So that's what really got me into it.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's cool, and that's and I always, I mean, I didn't even, you and I met in 2019, but we never really even started to talk till probably about a year or so ago. Yep. And but I was always, I mean, I can see who. I can tell the guys that are there to race and the guys that want to play, and I always admired your hard work ethic and that sort of stuff. So, but working hard at your race program is one thing, but then putting together a race is another whole. That's another whole level of dedicated. So anyway, so I'm super stoked. I'm really stoked for this. Yeah. We've already got it on our calendar and we're going. So let's talk about it. So. Yeah.
So it's Champions Lake in Springfield, Ohio. So went there last year for the APBA Nationals, all the oval guys. Dad used to race D-Stock Hydro back in the 60s. And he has been off and on with good health of late. So he hadn't been out of the house because of COVID and all that, probably in about 5 years. And so the kidney doctor gave us the okay to go down for the event last year, and I was traveling a lot last year, and then I really wanted to go see the F1s, just to see. I've always been interested with that. They're very got that synergistic approach to the drags as well, right? They're running FF blocks and all that, so I wanted to see firsthand how these were, right? And so I was able to take Dad down there and had an amazing adventure there. It was very first class, well organized. Talked to a bunch of different people throughout, including attendees. Spectators told me about how much they really liked the race, and that was their Wake the Lake 7 last year. So this year it's Wake the Lake 8, and they really caught on to the racing fever. It was packed, and great racing, great venue. The lake is very protected. It's just everything about it. It put like a flashlight into my head, right? Kind of like a light bulb went off.
So and as I understand, it's a facility.
It is,
that's set up for
it's a fairground. So it's a fairground with a private lake. And so with seeing all the F1 boats and how close you are to the action, I thought that if we could try to get the drags, and it was just a conversation at first, more just like a wish. Actually, wouldn't it be great if we could do this? And then last year I got talking to a bunch of guys at different races, and everybody kept saying, wouldn't it be great if we could take, some guys from SOTA and some guys from DSRA and some guys from UMPA and put them all together and maybe have a rule set that was kind of appeased everyone, or tried to as much as possible.
And that was going to be my next question. I know that the rules are going to be posted shortly. And that's great. And but you're a guy who's raced with all the organizations, all the sanctioning bodies. You've traveled all the races. So I know in speaking before, you've got an idea to come up with something that there's going to be something for anybody, really, no matter what series they regularly race with, that they're going to be able to come and their boat's going to be very close.
And like you and I talked off camera there just a little bit about what classes and what if we're not going to be able to get everybody into it, right? It's timing and all that kind of stuff. It's because we're running the ovals and the drags, we have to be specific on what we're going to bring to Springfield, right? So but I do know that through racing, DSRA had their year off last year, but I was there 2 years ago, and then raced a couple races there. You were there too, and SOTA and ODBA specifically last year. What classes are the busiest or the most attended? So we're trying to get into that factor, and then we have a target of how many boats we want to try to get there. If we exceed that, fantastic. But a realistic approach to the first year. Then hopefully it can be an annual race, right?
For sure. And I like your approach before, because you created Facebook polls. You were looking for popular opinion. You've asked a lot of questions. You've done a lot of research, and you've talked to a lot of racers. And from what I understand, you got a lot of positive feedback. There's a lot of people that are saying, "Hey, we might make the trek to this race." Even people from way down south and whatnot. They probably admire the fact that you travel to so many of their races. That. And they're fortunate that they've got so much racing in their own area, and we don't. And so Springfield, Ohio, I think for us, from the Toronto area is around 6-7 hours. Is that
about
right?
7 hours? So depending, I think from where you guys are and where I am, I think it's about a 7-hour average.
So that's not bad. So I think for there's going to be some southern races that are going to come up, but we're probably going to see more Canadian racers go to your race than maybe would go to a southern race, only because geographically it just makes so much more sense.
Well, and what I'm surprised on so far, I talked with, I tried to network with quite a few people, right? So went to SOTA, ODBA, and DSRA meetings. I went to all 3 winter meetings to not just understand the rules or the new rules that are coming in, but also to network with some of the top guys and see, hey, what about this? Throw something at them. And guys like I saw Michael Bates at the SOTA winter meeting, and he lives in New York, right? So something like this is very appeasing to him, because he's like, this is a closer race.
He's like you. He's a diehard. He travels a lot, and then
he drove to the SOTA meeting, right? And so that was 20 hours for him to drive down there. So There's what I'm surprised on. We're never really surprised, but it's nice to see.
Sure.
Is we're going to have the guys from Oompa and the guys from the Illinois club for that race at Blarney Island.
Yeah.
Some guys from there that were at Jasper.
Yeah.
There's going to be guys from Kentucky. There's guys from New York, then Canada. Like I'm hoping if we could get 10 boats from Canada, that would be tickled pink.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, because there are quite a few really good racers up here, and we've got nowhere to race.
100%. There's a lot of fast, good boats sitting with nowhere to race, and now you've given them an option that's not, that they don't need to take a week off of work to go.
That's right. Jasper's 14 hours for us. This is half the distance.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
sure.
And then I also wanted to think about, okay, well, and part of that questionnaire was what brings you to a race? Is it, the organization? Is it the venue? Is it the location? Is it the distance? And a lot of people did say distance, which I understand.
Yeah.
We're the first ones that say, we know what 20 hours is like.
Absolutely.
Right. However, if it's a special event and some of the Southern guys can come up as a vacation, it's going to be a little cooler for them. It's not going to be 110 degrees.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right. That kind of thing. They're still going to have long days, like dark's still going to be around 8:30 at night. So it gives them an opportunity to race somewhere that they couldn't before.
Sure.
A couple of guys messaged me the other day and they're like, we're very interested in coming, need to know a little bit more details, which we will. Like you said, in another week or two, we'll have that all nailed down. But it gives the Southern guys an opportunity to come north. And then it gives the Northern people that maybe haven't been racing because the South is too far.
For sure.
Now they have an opportunity.
Absolutely. Right? And I really like the idea of racing with the F1 boats because I'm a big fan. I've never seen them. I've never even seen them in person, but I'm a huge fan. So there's going to be something for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think I think you've spoken to some of the F1 boat racers too, and they're super stoked that you want to bring this to the table too. Right?
Yep. So, and it's again that synergistic opportunity, right? Where and Mercury's brought out the 4-strokes and stuff now, right? Like we're still in the 2.5 world and that kind of thing. And the OMCs, maybe it'll have an opportunity for some of the big OMC guys to come and show how fast these boats are, right? The Oval, the F1 guys, without knowing the exact numbers, I'm going to say anywhere from 105 to 115 on the straight stretch is kind of what they do. While some of our big boys are doing 115, 120 and 800 feet.
Yes,
right? So the fans... There's a big following of the F1, F2 boats at Springfield. I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised of how fast these drag boats really are.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100% for sure. And I think that the combination of the two creates, like you say, a special event per se. We spoke earlier a little bit off camera and you said, even when you talked about the announcing, between announcing and music, there's never going to be downtime, like dead air time. And it's going to be very fast paced, fast moving. The spectators are going to be closer than they are at most locations. It's just going to be super cool. And I think that once we get the first one, you get the first one off the ground and rolling, it's probably going to create a special event year in and year out.
How you just said that, and I'm anticipating, everybody's going to help out and that kind of stuff. I've already had a bunch of people reach out, and like you said too off camera, whatever I can do to help. I'm thinking the mentality is a we thing.
Sure.
I'd like to. With Dana Potts, who's the promoter for the APBA group, we've worked pretty well together here so far on getting this up and going. He's a brilliant promoter. I'm realizing very quickly of how good he is at his job. And I saw it firsthand last year. That's why I was so interested. I was like, why can't we be a part of this, right? And it's no knock on any of the other organizations that we've attended. It's like, okay, well, why not try and make something different, right? So that maybe like I talked to Jay Jackson, Minnesota. He's like, oh, it'd be kind of nice for me just to come to a race and race. And this is the opportunity, right? And that's the whole idea behind this is something different. And hey, how about when we're doing the wrenching and stuff on our boats, we take 5 minutes and we turn over to the lake. We watch those F2 boats that are ripping around the lake, right? It's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. And talk again, we talked off camera, but you were telling me about the parade through the boats. I think that's super cool.
Yeah, so on Sundays they do a boat parade, and it gives the opportunity for the fans to interact with the drivers. So they get their trucks and trailers or side-by-sides and boats, and they just do a little parade throughout the complex.
Sure.
And, the kids can come up and take pictures with their favorite driver. Yeah. So they do it on Sundays and stuff, and that's also, too, everybody gets to see the drivers on Saturday. Yeah. The kids will pick their favorite driver. Sure. I love that yellow boat, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm biased to yellow boats, but anyway. So they'll pick that boat, and then when they see that driver rolling through the parade,
they know.
Hey, Mommy, look who that is, right? And like, can I take a picture? Can I sign an autograph? That kind of stuff. And I was pleasantly surprised because I went in as a newbie going in there. I hadn't been to an APBA event, and looking, I was surprised of how interactive it was, and that it's actually quite important for the sport itself to be able to do that. And the other idea for me, as far as the drag boat side of things, is I really want to show the Springfield fans how fast these drag boats are. So that, because they're wowed already with the ovals. And I think they'll be pleasantly surprised with the drag.
For sure, especially when you start. I mean, in all classes, don't get me wrong. When you start getting up into pro mod and pro drag and stuff. I mean, I know when I had raced an entire season up here with the OPBRA, and then I went to Jasper in 2019 just as a spectator, and I remember standing on the banks and seeing the pro mod boats and the pro drag boats, and I was just like, whoa, until you see it firsthand, you can't. No one could describe it, especially when you get into big, pro drag.
Well, when I was going to the States there a couple of years, when we had that little gray area of whether we were allowed to or not, at Chester Frost at the World Championships, I was able to see the pro drags go, and I'm a racer too, but I guess stopped in my tracks and watched those guys because they're just
unbelievable.
They are unbelievable. And I know that I don't want to go that fast in a boat.
I'm with you.
I like going fast, but those guys are another level.
They just smash.
But it's a wow factor, right? And so that's even more reason to bring that to the fans, and they've got a loyal base already. So what if we can create an even different fan base for the drags? It's only going to make the sport better.
You can only make the sport better. And I think that anything that we do, I've talked about this in many videos, and whether it's from the social media side, some YouTube videos, and, going to the races, but anything that we can do for this sport is a positive. And it helps you, it brings unity, and it brings the clubs together, and which in turn grows each one of those. And one thing that I learned when I started getting involved in social media is that, there's it's never a competition in the fact, because if anybody else's channel does better, it makes mine do better. You know what I mean? Right. And I feel the same. I feel the same in racing, and I think there's not enough of that. Any sanctioning body that grows is going to help the other ones grow too, because it's going to bring viewership and popularity and that sort of thing to the races. So,
well, they're also trying to at Champions Lake. They're getting a bigger, busier schedule every year. And so this year I think they've got, if I'm correct, and Dana will correct me on this, but I think it's like 6 events.
Oh, wow.
And then with APVA Nationals being the big one. And the fact that the drags can be a part of the big event, that much cooler.
Awesome.
Right? So.
And let's talk about scheduling again. I know you were saying, so there's going to be an open practice or test session come Friday, racing is Saturday and Sunday. So you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah. So Friday we'll do, the ovals will have their time slots for when they're testing and qualifying. And then in between those, we'll have designated time slots. I believe it'll be 2 slots per class. We're probably going to have 6 classes for the drags. So, let's use, Pro Mod as an example. I'm pretty sure Pro Mod is going to be one of the 6 that we're going to choose. So, Pro Mod will have a time slot at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and 5 o'clock or something like that. Brilliant. And then that way you can go out, you can do your testing, get all the changes you need to do. But it's going to be short and sweet. Do your thing, get out of there, because the next class is coming right in, right? And one thing that I noticed from Wake the Lake 7 last year was the organization was bang on. Everything was bang, bang, boom. And with this year having the full schedule, we have to do that. Yeah. We're going to have a meeting probably about a month prior to the race. It'll be an online session, like a Zoom session or something like that. That's a great idea. Yeah, and then that way the drivers, if there's any questions, they can get them out now instead of having an hour drivers meeting on Saturday. It'll be that we've already talked about this. This is what it is. Let's go. Yeah, that's great. And you had talked about offering like an online registration too, so we can get the paperwork out of the way. Yeah, for APBA and for the insurance and stuff, they need to have all that information ahead of time. Yeah, and so they're in the digital world, so we're going to have that open for all the registrators, and then I'll have to talk to the rest of the group about this, but. We're going to have some type of, it'll be like a Google Docs or something like that. And then that way it's automated. It comes back. And then for all the PA announcers, so last year there was 2 there and they talked back and forth. They're constantly talking to the fans about the drivers and what they do and where they are and all that kind of stuff. We'll have that information as well that we can give. So the PAs will already know well ahead about these people, right? Yeah, for sure. Let them know who Dragboat Garage Mark Simon is, right?
That's cool. And just some of the things that you were telling me before about the facility that I thought were super cool was, a PA system throughout the entire facility that you can hear clear as day. You said that was awesome. There's ramps there. There's going to be crane there, obviously, for weigh-ins. You were showing me the video how the boys are remote
control,
and by GPS, cool. So they can move boys incredibly fast and put this all together. So I think it's awesome because, like you say, we're going to be working in some tight time slots, but that's what makes the day go smoother and better.
More entertaining as well, right?
Yeah, and how cool is it that I think that when you come Thursday come Friday morning, that, okay, my class I get to test, like you say, I'm testing at 12 and I'm testing at 5. That gives you time in between, have your stuff ready, be at the boat ramp, and it makes it better for everybody.
For sure, and you have to have a structure, right? And so where we get lost sometimes in races is the conversations, the best way to put this, we take our time because we've got the time instead of just let's nail this down and get it done, right? So in Jasper last year we had some situations with the starting bars and stuff, and it just Mother Nature didn't like us that day, right? It was really windy and all that kind of stuff. The guys did what they could do, but we got behind a couple hours and stuff because of all those complications. Sure. And so we have to always, be mindful, that things happen. Yes, right. Sure. And there's nothing we can do about it, but if we can just try to get it done as quick as possible, then we're all going to be happier people. Yeah, for sure. Right. So there's nothing worse than coming to a race and, and then, Sneed's, Florida last year. We had high winds on the Sunday. Yeah. I drove 19 hours. I got to race one day. Yeah. Right. So I get it. Been there, done that. Morgan City or wherever it was. Right. We had those thunderstorms in the afternoon. We couldn't go anywhere. Yeah. Right. So we were done. Right. Yeah. So that was 22 hours or whatever it was. Right. So I'm hoping that we'll have good weather. Knock on wood, wherever there is around here. Yeah. That's wood. Yeah. That's having structure and being time focused is something we're going to keep.
And then for the people that are traveling and are going to come on holidays and stuff, the location is fantastic. Obviously, lots of hotels in the area, lots of restaurants. It really caters to these types of events, right? So,
what's interesting is I was down in Alabama there a couple of weeks ago and talking with a gentleman. He was one of the DSRA guys, and he was saying about this event really intrigues me. I'm very interested. It's far for me to drive, but maybe my wife and I will make a vacation out of it. And then they've never been to Niagara Falls. Oh, perfect. And Niagara Falls is 3 hours, something like that away. So maybe we do something like that. So there's definitely opportunity for the southern folk to come up and just come somewhere different.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So
No, that's awesome. Going into this APBA sanctioned event. So anybody knows APBA has been around the boat racing world, a governing body for many, many years, and a fantastic organization. You were saying we will have to buy membership, but they're making us a reduced cost or a weekend membership. Correct?
Yeah, so special event membership. So for this year, with being the first annual, it's something we're trying. Dana Potts and Chris Fairchild have talked about, what can we do to entice the drag guys as well. So it'll be a special event for this weekend. All the drivers will obviously have to be members, as well as anybody that goes into the hot pits. They're going to be a member as well. I mean, I know you have that with the car racing and bikes and stuff like that. So, or snowmobiles too, right? It was like that. So it makes sense. It's not going to be a large fee by any means. They've reduced it. It'll just be part of the one fee for the event,
which is you have to have that because they're insuring it, they're overseeing it, and so I mean I think anybody expects that, and I think it's fantastic that they're allowing like I say a special event purchase for one.
Well, and the other thing too is that I know from myself personally of going to 3 different organizations, I'm paying 3 different memberships, so I totally understand the concern of entry fees and all that kind of stuff. So we're trying to make it as viable as possible for everybody. And then APBA has done their thing on, having a reduced cost for the weekend, but being also frugal on we need to make sure our insurance policy is looked after as well, absolutely. Right? So that's a thing that I've talked to Dana quite extensively about. And so the big thing for OPBRA members is that we have somewhere to race.
100%.
Right? And we have insurance, and it is structured, it is organized. And so I'll reach out to a bunch of our members to, hey, I know this is an American race, but, can you help out a little bit and, make it smooth, and then it's only going to make us want to race again next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? For sure. Yeah. No, that's great. Okay, and that's cool. So, from our U.S. friends traveling up, you're going through Kentucky. There's a Corvette Museum.
That's right. Yeah.
As an attraction. You said there's going to be some special events. You're going to bring details again in another couple of weeks. But post-race activities around the race site and that sort of thing. There's going to be lots to do for everybody.
Last year they had an event, a bar and that kind of stuff. That they had. It's a fairground. And so just outside of the perimeter, they had this casual area that they had music going and that kind of stuff. It was with drinks and that kind of thing. So that's going to be available, and there's lots of good hotels. I think my hotel was 12 or 13 minutes away.
Perfect.
So that's great in that regard. Last year, that is. And they're going to be also doing raffling, and there's a bunch of vendors there, and there's lots to do.
That's awesome. That's good, man. It's I'm stoked. So it sounds like you guys are well on track. You got a good base plan going here, and more details to be announced here over the next couple of weeks, like you say, with rules and scheduling and that sort of stuff. So
we're just trying to iron it out, just to make sure that a lot of guys have reached out of we would like to, it's not that some people want to race one organization, some people want to race another, and to each their own. This event is meant more for let's incorporate the ovals because they're awesome to watch,
absolutely.
And then let's be a part of this event that what I already saw was a great event, and complement and make it better, and let's get some new fans because they're going to see how fast we are. Right. No, so I'm super excited too. It's going to be a lot of work. But
you're not one to shy away from work. So that's awesome, man. Well, hey, listen, I'm glad that you came out, and sat down with me and talked about this. Is super cool. I know you've got a list of some people that you want to thank that have helped you with your race program and allowed you to do these kinds of things. So I think that now is a great time to put them in.
So we're focused on the 2024 season. Obviously, we're gonna try to hit multiple organizations again this year. Last year was very busy, right? I think I went to 8 or 9 races last year. So that was busy. Unfortunately, everything is 14 hours plus. So that takes a little wind out of the sails sometimes.
Sure does,
but I like what the organizations have done this year. the sense of having a summer off per se. Doing a lot of racing in the spring and a lot of racing in the fall, and then taking the July and half of June and July and August off. So our race is kind of like the first race back. There's still the Blarney Island races on Thursday nights and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, there's nothing in between the July and August. So that'll be kind of nice to family time, stay home, do that kind of thing, right? This year we're focused on and trying to reach all of them. We've got the 2 boats this year. So that was cool to kind of bring that out to the forefront at Lincoln last year. I'm really excited to get that one going. It's going to be a challenge for a lot of people. So it's good. Fuel Lab came on board last year, and that they totally redesigned my fuel system. It's been fantastic. Rob Twyble and yourself, I talked to you about that too, and you guys commented about how good Fuel Lab was, and I haven't turned back. It's been awesome. So consistent and that kind of thing. So they're on board again for this year. The sensor connection out of Michigan. I'm doing an EGT data recovery this year with them. They're going to they're supporting me for all my sensors and stuff. So they'll have all the sensors in the boat will be theirs from the motor perspective, and I'm looking forward to on both boats. So they're going to hook me up with that. So I just got figured out where we're putting them and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go visit them in a couple of weeks and say my thanks to them as well. They've been great. So I'm looking forward to syncing with them. And just a whole bunch of other people. Billy Eves down in the States helped me out with props and Quartz Propeller at home.
Probably one of the nicest people on the planet.
The Futurers are fantastic people, and they got me going with all the props, right? And Jamie is basically the guy I talk to, and he helps me at home here, and then when I'm down at the race site, Billy is the guy for me down there. So that's really good. And then all kinds of other people, like even Brendan, Power Performance Engineering, like he helps me out all the time too with parts, and there's all kinds of people. Double R Performance, Speedmaster Marine, Andrew, I talk to him all the time. I bug him all the time for data recovery. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. Right? So, and he's helping me out with the aims and trying to figure that all out and that kind of stuff. So, I always forget people, but Commercial Press, I don't think, have you seen the
just the pictures.
I was going to say, so like, my oldest boat, Commercial Press, Tom Watson redid the wrap on it last year, and it's totally rejuvenated. It looks amazing. So there's that. And then obviously, Baycor, I've got his mounts on both my boats, and it's made my boat faster. So and then obviously Kevin Ward from Ward's Garage.
Big Kevin.
He's the brain behind that behind motors, right? So he makes it go fast. So and that he comes to as many races as he can. Obviously, he's not going to be able to make all of them. I bug him because the race that I won in the States, he wasn't there for. So there's that.
I was there.
I know you were there, right? But no, it's I'm very excited to have the opportunity to. If we could win this year and Kev could be down for that, I'd be really excited.
That's great.
To someone as a mentor, Paul Freeman's been a mentor for the last my first year I went to Jasper. I parked beside him accidentally. And he took me under his wing that the next day. Right. And then I started borrowing parts. All the time. So and that's how the racing world works, right? Sure. I got to meet one of my good friends, Kevin, like I said earlier, because he helped me with my motor. And Paul was that guy the first year of the World Championships, right? He took me under his wing, and we're very good friends now, talk all the time. Just
an absolute pillar of the community.
And a goat, right?
There's no better.
Right? He wins. I don't know how he does it all the time, but he wins all the time.
He travels and to the races. He's been doing it a very long time. He's been on both ends of it too. That's why he's been great for you, because I mean, he's been the president, I believe, of the ODBA at some time, correct? He was the one that brought Speed Vision
That's right.
when it was televised to ODBA, and I mean, just a true icon.
It was black and white TV back then, but just
an absolute gentleman. So what a guy! I just love chatting with him.
I just thought I wanted to mention that just because he is my mentor. What better mentor to have than the GOAT, right? So, and he, and it's funny because I'm getting to understand fuel curves and data recovery and all that kind of stuff, and analytics and Andrew from Speedmaster is helping me out a lot with that to learn. And then Paul does that with his boat too, and now we're helping each other, right, with that kind of thing. So it's been him and his brother Jerry. Jerry's actually funny. Quick one for you, but last year I did very well on Saturdays, and Sundays I always seemed to not quite pull it off. And so Jerry always says, "How you doing, Shawn?" I said, "Oh, good." He goes, "You ready to choke on Sunday?" So that's a little joke we got now, right? So, but you know what? I'd miss it if I didn't have that at every race, right?
Absolutely.
And they're and him and Ricky King come to help Paul all the time. I pit with them every race, and what better people to give butter tarts to than them, right?
There's none better for sure. No, that's awesome, man. Well, you know what? You're a great ambassador to the sport. You're super competitive, and you carry yourself well, and you got great people behind you, and you're doing great things. So, man, I'm just excited, man. I'm excited for you. I'm excited
I'm looking forward to
this. I'm excited to get to the race and hoping to.
I want to get the group back together, right?
Man, bring the band back together,
let's get down there and enjoy the U.S. hospitality, right? And there's so many guys that I know would like to race if we had the opportunity up here, right? And we have the Fast Boats Canada groups that we do the rides, and guys are itching all the time to race, and we don't have that opportunity.
And like I say, we talked earlier. There's a lot of boats sitting in garages that were active racers up here when we could provide that, and unfortunately, we've been dealt some blows that have taken that back. So you're presenting an opportunity to for these people to have somewhere to race, like I say, within a reasonable geographic distance from home, and so
that was the goal, right? Try to get some kind of different race, but also have the opportunity to bring the other people that I've been sitting at home and not being able to race. And we know they're fast boats.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? There's lots of fast boats here.
Yeah.
So it'd be great to have a whole bunch of them down there.
Awesome, man. Well, I think you're off to a good start. So, and again, thanks for coming. I appreciate it. I think this video is going to be great, and we'll get it out and look forward to and for those watching the video, Shawn posts a lot on Facebook in the different groups. Where he'll be updating it, like high performance boating, I know is one for sure. Your own
Scream
page, Scream and Fly, SD Racing, where he'll be updating with the rule set as they come in the schedule and that sort of thing. Look for that over the next couple weeks. But man, there's a lot of hype. Everybody's talking about it. I think it's going to be great. So man, let's just bring on August.
Can't wait.
Awesome.
Thanks.